Greetings, everybody, to a new series covering Going Medieval called Oak Brethren. If you would like to skip the game's overview or the details about this series, please use YouTube chapters. Going Medieval is a game where you construct a fortress in a land reclaimed by a wilderness, defend against raids, and keep your villagers happy as their lives are shaped by the world around them. I'll be playing on a medium-sized hillside map on standard difficulty and a new life scenario with 3 pre-made settlers. I'll be trying to build a well-protected Druid temple, and this will be a mix of Let's Play and tutorial. I'll be polling you guys about some major decisions, and we'll only be allowing other Oak Brethren behind our walls. I'm also going to avoid min-maxing or majorly exploiting game mechanics for my own advantage, because there are some, basically avoiding some extreme cheese, I'll put it that way. So this is going to be the start of 3 Oak Brethren, Kadath, Ravak, and Zent. And here we are. Now, this is going to be a mix of both Let's Play and tutorial. Seeing that I have played Going Medieval before, there's a few things I want to cover. One, I'll be trying to explain everything, all the relevant game mechanics. So if you're new to the game, you'll understand what's going on. But for those that did watch previous Going Medieval series, before I start formally, I want to cover some of the major updates since I last played about 18 months ago. There are now events and roles. So events are like feasts and ceremonies and the like that you can trigger yourself. And roles are positions that your people can have. Sometimes related to events like a Druid, which is going to kick off an event for Oak Brethren, and sometimes related to managing prisoners or attending feasts. Additionally, speaking of prisoners, there's a new mechanic of prisoners in gates. So when you get attacked, people can surrender, and you can imprison them, you can force them into labor, so that they can build, construct, mine, or harvest as essentially slaves, if you will. Or alternatively, you can recruit them with a warden. That's update 12. Update 13 added modding. Not going to go much into that because it's not relevant here. Update 14 added fire mechanics and training grounds. So fire mechanics is that archers and certain siege weapons can fire incendiary rounds. Fires can catch and spread. And then firefighting mechanics like water and wells and water buckets and stomping out small fires. And then additionally, training grounds allows you to train up your people out of combat. So if you have people that you want to get better archers, you can build like a training dummy and have them shoot at the training dummy for experience rather than having them to go fight wolves or deer or whatever. That's update 14. And the latest update is a siege and raid commander AI. So the new siege is that not only... So previously, when you got attacked, enemies would enter the edge of the map tile and construct siege weapons and attack you. And there wasn't really a good counter for the player because the player would just have to sally out and march against the siegers, which is kind of brutal. So now the player can build siege equipment of their own and use it against raiders. And then additionally, the raid commander AI... The TLDR is that they will try to infiltrate your castle, not only to kill you, but also to take your stuff and destroy your stuff. Meaning that they can set up siege ladders, they can set up temporary bridges, they will try to mine or destroy their way into your fortress. And they will also, like, you know, use a little bit more AI than march blindly to their deaths. And so on and so forth. Right at the start of the series, I do have a design plan for how I want to build and everything, but let's first cover the characters. So we have Kadath. He is a tireless roofer, and he's the heretic of Interfix. 36, carpentry, construction, and smithing is his skills. And then personality traits are... Oops, that's not the right tab. Where is the personality anyway? Oh, yeah, down here. He is industrious, he sleeps quickly, he runs quickly, and he's outgoing. Then we have Rayvac. Rayvac is a reckless gardener, the red of Bassin Weight. She hates art, is a good botanist, is good at cooking, melee and mining, and speechcraft. And her traits is Green Thumb, vigorous, so she recovers more quickly, ravishing, so she's very pretty and good at striking up deals, and strapping, better at melee. And then last but not least, there's Zent, the accurate engineer. And he is skilled in animal handling, art, intellectual, marksman, and melee, and tailoring. He is an erudite, so good at leveling up, runs fast, likes to tame animals, and is industrious as well. All right. We also start with the basics. This is a new life start, so we have pretty standard attire. And on top of that, we have 3 animals, Bo, Nibbles, and Kendra, who are going to be raffled off to you guys. So let's kick off, for you early birds, a raffle right now. I just need to set up the timer. And there we go. Raffle timer's up. Alright. Before I do anything, I would like to hook Zent up with the longbow. Rayvac is going to take the short sword and the armor and the shield, and Kadath is going to take the short bow. On top of that, I'm planning on mostly building around this pond, but I don't want to have my initial shack intrude upon that area, so my first structure is going to be a little bit more simple, and it's going to be 11 by 11 shack right here, while we get the pond area more ready for habitation. So this is the first basic structure, and it's just going to be thatched. I'm keeping it very cheap. It does need some trussing, and I'll do that in a minute. As far as jobs go, let's make sure to quickly look over the jobs tab. Everything looks more or less okay. There we go. And let him rip. So the other thing is we're going to want to set up a stockpile in here to allow stuff to be put in here. But I am going to not include waste or carcasses. Basically, I don't want trash in my stockpile or dead bodies. All right, on top of that, let's go ahead and allow everything here so we can start moving into our starting shack and fully equip Rayvac with armor, leaving behind the spear and the sling not to be used because we don't really have people for that quite yet. All right, one thing we're going to absolutely need is a lot of timber for this construction. So I'm going to go around cutting down dead and mature trees. And another thing I'd like to do, at least initially, is in this stockpile, not include tree seeds, because saplings will take up a lot of unnecessary room, except for apple saplings. Apple saplings is the one exclusion to that because they're more precious than regular tree saplings. Right off the bat, I think it's going to be wise for us to get sleeping spots. We're going to want a table with some chairs so we can eat sitting upright. We're going to want a backgammon table for some basic recreation, an Oak Brethren shrine, and a research desk with maybe a campfire and a butcher table. And I'll put doors in all 4 cardinal directions. So it's a tall order for like a basic shack. But that's the order in which I want to build it. Just to get the bare necessities in it. So the butcher table will allow us to butcher animals for meat. The shrine will allow us to fulfill religious needs. The research table will unlock the research tab. The backgammon for recreation. The beds for obviously rest and recovery. The tables to eat and drink. And I'm sure my guys are going to have their hands full with all of these tasks I just queued up. Getting the first extremely flammable, extremely temporary shack going. Alright, some other changes I'd like to do is once we have the walls up, I'm going to put a torch here and a torch here to illuminate the work area and the eating area a little bit. Also, Terra Kittens, Rudemeshi, Airdog, and Maxu, thank you for the resubs. And good luck in the raffles. So with the new fire mechanics, I plan to try to use this pond as a way to help fight any fires that would be in our monastery. The goal of the series is to essentially build a refuge for Oak Brethren. All right, and animals. Major Mildew, you are going to be the cat. Apparently, there's a character limit, so you're just Mildew now. Next up, Sakura. Sakura, the cherry tree. Sakura, the goat. What gender is these goats? I forget where the gender tab is. Oh, male. Alright, Sakura, the female goat. And Emily, the male goat. Okay. A boy named Emily, right? Works for me. Speaking of which, it would be a good idea to keep them somewhat safe from harm, because wild animals will be predators for our animal friends. So let's go ahead and create a small wicker area for them to reside in. We'll put a wicker gate here, and a pen marker here, and a trough there. And then on these corners, just to make them look right, we'll build the corner style. This isn't a lot of protection. The way the animal protection works is when they hang out around your colonists, they can't be targeted by predators because they are like under the sphere of protection of your colonists. A little pen like this will keep them from wandering too far from us, allowing us to protect them more easily. All right. So we're moving everything into the stockpile so it doesn't decay. And once we have a basic survival shack, one of the first things I intend to do is to... Well, let's see. This pond goes deep, but not super deep. I intend to start construction on what the forever base will look like. So I'm envisioning sort of a fortress built around this pond, more or less. I have a rough idea of what it will look like in my head, but not fully fleshed out. All right, Mr. Kadath. Let's have you construct the research table. So as soon as the research table's up, the way research works in this game is you build up chronicles and other research texts, and then you can dedicate those research tasks to a research project. So in order to start a farm, we need a research table to have our starting 25 chronicles dedicated towards basic construction and agriculture. So, here's the research panel. You have to start off with architecture, which allows you to build wooden or other materialed beams. And then the next one I'm going to unlock is architecture. I'm also going to have my researcher, who I believe is Zent, research chronicles until we have 50 of them. So the texts themselves aren't gone. They're just dedicated towards those research projects I just got. Which means that I need to build up more of them. Essentially, you need to design or acquire a library's worth of stuff. Alright, so this is too far for wooden beam. So what I'm going to do is, let's put some cross beam supports. I'm going to move where this campfire is going to be built. And we'll put two pillars in the middle with wooden support beams like this to support the roof over it. There's a stability mechanic at play where things need to be supported in order to be stable. So that is that's what these beams and pillars are for. We start off with 35 cabbage seeds, so I just made a 5x7 farm, and I'm gonna sow cabbage until it's flowering, which will give us less vegetables, but more seeds for the future. So right now, this cabin is on the outside, and we're suffering penalties as a result. It would be really good to have it be on the inside before nightfall, but because of how large I built it, that's not likely to be the case. I've essentially given Kadath too much work, which is okay. Alright, I actually haven't seen this map tile at all. I created a map seed, and all I wanted was one that had a pond roughly in the middle. But let's actually survey the land, because I haven't actually looked around. So, we've got a large hill to the, I'm going to call it southwest. I don't know if that's true. And then, it's mostly flat forest in this hillside, with some iron and coal to the northeast, and forests. There is no river. A lot of the map tiles will have rivers, but this one doesn't. There's a whole bunch of exposed limestone. Sometimes these hillside map tiles don't have a lot of exposed limestone, but this one does. So we can build using lime as a resource. Alternatively, we are next to a whole lot of clay as well. There's large swaths of clay all around us. Clay here, clay here, clay here. So we can also build in clay brick. Clay brick and lime are the same durability. So either way, we'll have really strong walls. Carthrain, thank you for the resub too. Cheers. So Zent is making chronicles for us, has made 3. Kadath is trying to get a roof over heads, although, given the scope and size of this building, I feel bad. I tasked him with a bit too much. And then Ravak is planting all the cabbage. As you can see at the top screen here, it is spring. Spring has moderate temperatures, rain and fog are frequent, and a small chance for hailstorms which would stunt or damage plant growth. Each month or each season is 12 days long, and it's the first of spring. Essentially, we want to try to amass as much food as we can in the fairer seasons so that we can survive in the winter. There's different biomes in the game. There's mountains, which have harsh winters and shorter grow seasons. There's the marsh, which is kind of like perma-summer, but very wet. And then the valley and this map tile are sort of temperate, where it will have cold winters and warm summers. So the other issue is even when it's a good growing season in the summer, it also means it's really hot, which rots the hell out of your food. So one of the first tasks we're going to want to do is to build a root cellar roughly where I plan on forever living, which is going to be around this pond, as I said. But also maybe not allow the pond to like leak into our root cellar. So when building a root cellar, we have to be cognizant of not breaching any of the digging walls into this root cellar, or we're going to flood our own root cellar, which would be pretty tragic. Because you can move water around in this game, but it's much harder to remove water. Have I had hydration juice yet? Yes. The installation mechanic has changed over the past updates. Yeah. So what is ideal? What used to be ideal is no longer the meta. I'm not going to go for, again, pure meta, but I do plan on building a proper root cellar. One that we can be, like, roughly proud of. Now, the other thing is the scope of my projects are going to be limited and become more complex. So rather than building, like, the ultimate root cellar as a project, I want to build a simple one and improve it over time, which is what a village like this would do. You wouldn't have a village like this living out of basically a wooden shack with like an elaborate clay brick root cellar. It wouldn't make sense. So I'm going to take that in mind, propose projects for you guys, or dictate the projects depending on necessity, and build them to scope and slightly scale things up over time, rather than take on mega projects which will never be completed within a reasonable time. All right, pretty soon it will be sleep time. We do have 3 beds. They suck. They're like barn flooring, but you know, we'll have to do. And Rayvac is now adding to our wood because almost all the wood that we started with is gone into the shack. So we're going to need additional sources of wood. Now the question is, should I have a wooden roof or a thatched roof? The thatched roof has better insulation values, but worse fire. And the wooden roof is, you know, more aesthetically... I think I'll just make it really cheap thatch. But I believe I need the cross beams first. I think we don't have enough beam support at the moment. But I'll wait until all the walls are built anyway. So, taking a look at the raw resources on our map tile. We did analyze that there's a lot of coal, tons of clay, tons of iron. There's lots of exposed resources, which is going to make having a wealthy colony very easy. Which is a double-edged sword, because the greater your wealth, the greater your threats. Up here we have barley. We've got some wild herbs, which are important for nice meals. We've got mushrooms and hay, or tall grass for hay. The tall grass is going to be great for roof. We started off around a lot of red currant shrubs, which is a good, quick, easy food source, and eventually can become fermented into rough wine and other alcohols. And I don't see a ton of wolves, which is fortunate. So we don't have a lot of predators. Oh, what I don't see right now is flax. There probably is flax somewhere on this map tile. I just haven't spotted it yet. But I'll keep an eye out for flax, because flax is going to be important for nicer clothing heading into the winter. All right, Rhadamant is hauling a stockpile, which means all of the crop tending tasks are done. I did delete the campfire, so let's put the campfire back. I'll put it back here. And that way we're going to be able to start to make simple meals for ourselves. Cheers. All right, looks like all the walls are done. So the thatched roof still needs more supports. How do I want to do that? I think I'm actually going to change the design a little bit to make it slightly more elegant. Which also means destroying some stuff. All's well that ends well, though. Alright, and there's our butcher table. Not that we are actively hunting yet, but what I can do is say butcher forever and only butcher animals that we're willing to eat, not enemy settlers or enemy corpses, rather. And now, Rayvac is hauling and Zent is still researching. Perfect. Kadath is getting the last of the fence posts up, and then we'll get the trough, and that will allow us to have the sheep cared for. The sheep, of course, produces milk and dung, or goats rather. Milk and dung, and the milk will be an important resource for us if we want just straight up milk to drink or cheese. For now, I'm only going to feed the animals hay, because it's a season in which hay is pretty abundant. I'll get some tall grass, cut into hay, and feed them. Alright, let's speed up time so we can sleep. So the current priority right now, let's update, is get a basic roof over our heads. Pretty straightforward. Once that's built, we should be able to get a basic thatch roof. No windows, no frills. This is definitely roughing it. But I wanted to keep it large enough that we won't have to oh, here's some flax. We won't have to readdress the area that we live in, but also that we can comfortably move into. So let's also start planting as soon as we harvest the flax. As soon as we harvest flax and barley, I want to start sowing it in the ground. We don't have a crop tender skilled enough yet to plant herbs, but once we level up planting the barley and flax and possibly red currant, although I don't really want to put in red currant because red currant is wild and is everywhere and you can get plenty of it early game to feed the amount of people that you have, I probably won't be sowing red currant bushes. Alright, they were not too happy about sleeping on the ground, so if we click on, like, any one of them on their mood, slept outside, slept in an uncomfortable bed. I didn't have a roof, and I don't have a proper bed. So those are going to be some of the tasks handled. One, obviously, is going to be the task to put a roof over our heads. But then after that, we'll try to get proper beds. As a pretty early research project. Because keeping people happy is really not that difficult. Alright, it is warning me that meal preparation is missing. That's because we don't have a campfire yet. But that's to be made. I'm going to queue it up closer to the stockpile so it's easier to cook. And you are out here. Oh, you might as well, if you're all the way out here, cut this wild barley. and haul it back. Whoa! Cadet's already naked. Oh, so there's a deer carcass here, which, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a waste stockpile. I'm going to create 2 of them. One is going to be for carcasses. So this is going to be priority very high for animal carcasses, which is essentially our butchery. Because as a carcass decays, it turns to, like, bones. And then the other dumping zone, I'll put a little far off, like in this open field. And this one is going to be medium for for enemy carcasses, enemy corpses, and waste, which is dung, bones, rotten meat, ash, and vegetable rot. Some of the waste there can be used. Like, for instance, you can take dung and turn it into dung bricks as a fuel source. But until you have a lot of animals and you need a lot of fuel, like, dung bricks isn't really an economical way to, you know, especially given that we're surrounded by forests. It's going to be really easy to get fuel. All right, that's coming together. Let's get the support beams up, and then we'll get the roof on. All right, research tree. So, the first research I would like to do is to get furniture so that people can sleep on proper beds. And then after that, I'll address our needs. It's probably going to be... Well, I can leave it up to you whether I go limestone or clay brick. Clay might seem like the more logical material, only because we're surrounded by clay fields. There is some limestone, but if we go into the mining menu here, we can see how deep this limestone goes. So, like, the limestone deposits... This one goes pretty deep. Well, it goes... like 4 tiles deep. This one goes like 2 tiles deep. So there's not a ton of limestone in the immediate vicinity, but it might be possible to have some of our most important foundations that are most likely to get attacked by enemies to be made of limestone or limestone brick. So question to you, what primary building material to use for the ground level? Limestone brick or clay brick? Keeping in mind, of course, that they have essentially the same exact defensive properties. So if you want like a limestone fortress or a terracotta clay brick fortress, there's really no disadvantage one to the other. All right, looks like the walls are up. Thatch roof time. A few more supports, apparently. I don't normally build the starting shack quite this this large. Additionally, let's go ahead and set up a meal production queue. So do until we have 10 basic meals made. And to that end, let's go over to the red currant shrubs and pick them for the currants. Only the ripe ones. We'll let the ripening and unripe ones wait for ripeness. No need to rush it. Madzy, thank you for the resub. And it looks like clay brick is going to win. Got it. So that's probably related to my next research. So I'm going to be researching furniture, or actually I just got furniture. So the next one is going to be clay brick making, so we can have a clay kiln to be able to start to make clay bricks in mass. All right, let's see. I might need to make this roof weird. You know, I'll just make a flat roof. I don't care. It don't need to be pretty. It just need to work. I plan on moving out of it, like, kind of as fast as I can. So, it really does not need to be pretty. Oh, the one... Actually, I'll take that back. The one disadvantage of doing this is I won't be able to easily see into this building. Yeah, there's a bit of a design flaw. Would a... Wow, it doesn't even let me do the angle roof like this. Alright, we're gonna go for maximum ugly then. Maximum ugly. And all the while, we are going to be building up the beds as well. So we now have one bed. And when Kadath manages to build the other two, we'll swap from the, like, sleeping spots to the actual bed. All right, opening up the jobs menu. Cooking is going to be the highest priority for Rayvac. So Rayvac will take a break out of research to cook us meals. Saji, thank you for the resub. And it seems to me like we are almost out of wood. So I'll also make sure to queue up as much wood cutting as possible. Oop, not a copy. I want you to relocate. Okay, so we've got settlers suffering from cold. Oh, right, because your clothing, like, literally rotted off your body. Well, once this building is enclosed, it will be warmer than ambient, and I can also put a brazier in there to warm Kadath up. I was not expecting him to spawn with, like, clothing that was going to decay at, like, day one. That's just bad luck. So what we need to do is to drop the roof on. And then he should warm up. I can also work, once I get the clay bricks, on getting tailoring pretty early on. In fact, what to research next? Tailoring or clay bricks? Be up to you. So, clothing or being able to start supplying the materials we need for, like, walls and the like. And have you guys choose. Hey, Jay. Thank you for the resub. What are we doing over here? Making sure we cut all the mature trees. I'm leaving the growing trees alone. And then at some point, if my farmer has enough idle time, I can start planting the tree seeds that we're not using too. Is he building the house cheeks free in the wind? No, he is. He's wearing undies, Grundy undies, but he's not like all that happy about that. He's cold and uncomfortable. I mean, I don't blame him. It's almost an inside area though, but because it's really early spring, it's actually quite cold out. And it looks like you guys want tailoring next. So as soon as I have 20 Chronicles built up, I'll unlock tailoring and have him tailor up some basic clothing. Normally when you do a new start, your clothing doesn't decay off your body immediately. So like, for instance, Rayvac's clothing is 39 out of 60, and Zent's 38 out of 63. Kadath just happened to have like a 1 out of 63 by chance, and was like, guys, I'm a little cold. It's like, yep, that you are. You nudist. Thank you for tuning in to Going Medieval Oak Brethren, which originally streamed live on Twitch. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you'd like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you would like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhadamant.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching. Special thank you to my Twitch subscribers, Patreon patrons, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, my fellow Oak Brethren.